In my previous video, I showed how Hermes and AgentCall work together and how to use the AgentCall dashboard. And I ended that by talking about how adding more tools to the Hermes agent makes it even more powerful. And I ended with how my next video would be about connecting an email to Hermes to give it more access. So in this video, the goal is to walk you through how to quickly set up Hermes to have access to emails and how you could leverage that and use it personally or use it for a business that is looking for automated emails. So how do we connect Hermes to emails? The simplest way is to, one, make sure you have a virtual private server. And in my case, I use Hostinger. The Hostinger instance is where you would store your API key. So the server is what runs the Hermes agent 24/7. Think of Hermes as the orchestrator that is running the entire process. And then we use a tool called Composio. And Composio connects Hermes to multiple email apps. So instead of just connecting your agent to, say, Gmail only, you could connect your agent to multiple email vendors using Composio. And what Composio asks before you connect those emails is you have to authenticate it. So you have to sign in, you'd have to have an account with that email vendor. And then once that is set up, then ultimately you can now chat with your Hermes agent via Telegram or via different chat methods and be able to ask it to review your email. Now, the cool thing about this setup is once it's done once and for all. So you can then start setting up scheduled jobs like review my email every 3 days or review my email daily and respond or delete these emails. So you want to be careful, obviously, when you're starting off, but once you set this up, it becomes pretty much a straight way forward process. So high level, this is what I'm going to share today, and hopefully you learn something new. All right, let's dive into it. So the first step of connecting our agent to emails is to use a vendor called Composio. Composio connects AI agents to over 1,000 applications. So think of it as a way for AI agents to connect to more tools. And I've already created an account, but once you get on composio.dev, you could get started. And you can go ahead and sign in with your either Google account or GitHub. And once you're signed into Composio, there's really two main things you're looking for. The first thing you need is to get yourself an API key. The API key is what is going to give you access to using a lot of the tools that your agent could be able to leverage from the Composio application. So when you are here, you click your name at the bottom, and then you can find API key. So this way you create your API key, and let's just call it test API, and then create. And this API key is what then you copy, and then you go to your Hostinger under VPS is where you want to go. So this is where my Hermes agent is currently running today. And when you click manage, you can go ahead and click your Docker manager. And if you've never set up Hermes on Hostinger, I do have a previous video that walks you through step-by-step on how to do that. Once you get to the instance of the Hermes agent you want to update your API key for, you want to click manage. And then you would scroll down to your environment here. And then you would go ahead and add your Composio _API _key. You would type that in, and then you would go ahead and add in your value here. That is the key that you got from the Composio website. I already have mine in here, so I'm not going to add a new one, but this is where you would add it. Once you've added your key, you want to then go ahead and click deploy at the very top. And once you click deploy, then your virtual private server will store that information for your Hermes instance, and you would be able to get access to your Composio application and the multiple of tools that Composio has. Once you've gotten your API key stored in your virtual private server, you will then want to come back to the dashboard and click on Toolkit. Toolkit lists all the different applications that Composio has, and as it said, over 1,000 applications that you can connect your agent to. And in this case, we're trying to connect our email, and we already have a Gmail right here, so that's the one we're going to use for this test. But if you had any other email service provider, you can just type in email, and then a lot of them would be listed in here. For example, you have Agent Mail, which is very popular with AI agents today. You have Zoho Mail, which is here. You have Outlook, and a few others that maybe some of you may not be familiar with, but they have a ton of different applications in here. But for the purpose of this demo, we're going to go ahead and use Gmail, which is very popular. So you're going to go ahead and click on Gmail. And then once you click on Gmail, you want to go ahead and click Add to Project. And it's going to give you a configuration name. You can leave it as is, or you can name it something like Hermes Gmail. And click Next. And then just leave these settings the way they are, authentication, and then what I'd recommend with Composio managing that. And then you click Create Authentication, and then it will create this for you right here. Once this has been created, you want to go ahead and click this little arrow, and then you want to connect your account. And then when you connect your account, you can also leave the user ID as is, click Connect, and then this is where it's going to ask you to authenticate to what email you want to give Composio access to so that your agent can access it. So in my case, I've already given it my personal email here for my YouTube channel. And if this was the one that I wanted to, I would just click that. And then it would say you're signing back in. It would ask for your approvals, and then you'd click Continue. And if I click this one as a test, then it would say, okay, are you comfortable with allowing Composio to get access to your email? You can click Continue, and then you say yes. So this is where you select what you want to give Composio access to. It's always best practice to start with a test email and then just give it all access versus your personal email. And that way you can test it out using your AI agent and see what it can and cannot do. So in this case, I've given it access to everything. It's a test email that I have, and now it's successfully connected. And that's pretty much it. So once you have your Composio connected to your Gmail through authentication, and you have your API key for your Composio stored in your virtual private server, and you have deployed it, then the next step is to move on to your Telegram chatbot and go into my current chat that I was chatting with earlier today and just ask her, do you have access to Composio and my Gmail? There you go. It says yes, through Composio, I currently have access to your Gmail connections, and then it tells me the Gmail the actual address that it has. So that's how you set up Composio in your Hermes instance to get access to your email. Once that's done, you can pretty much chat with your chatbot here to review your emails every day, send emails to customers, give you a summary of what are your priorities. And if you add AgentCall on top of this, you could actually talk to your AI agent, give it a phone call, and chat with it about what is going on in your email, because AgentCall has memory as well. So hopefully you learned something today, and I will see you on the next one.